Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
Hey, seriously, Dad. Today we're talking to New York comic Alan Massenburg. He tells us about being a dad, a young dad, changing his life, being there for his daughters, and always having the tough conversations. Seriously, Dad.
Seriously, Dad?
Seriously, Dad? Two father comedians out of Philadelphia. Seriously, Dad?
Dad? Seriously?
Dad?
Seriously? Seriously?
All right, we're here with another episode. I'm so excited for today's guest. We got Alan Massenburg
Alan the
coming
Great Massenburg.
via New York City right
Hey.
now, getting some
Great.
French toast on the way. You door dashing that? What are you doing?
No, the restaurant is like 2 doors down. Just go get it.
Okay, nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
All right, well, make sure you bring enough to share, and you can just send that via UPS. We'll look forward to that, dude. I'm excited because I love watching your stand-up because I relate so much because you talk a lot about your daughters and yourself, and those are things that I myself and I know Albert does as well. And so
Yeah.
like it was super exciting to just have someone like in our range of age, and I'm going to use that loosely because I'm probably older, but I'm going to pretend.
You're definitely older. You're definitely.
Thank you for that. That makes me feel so good. No, but I mean, you have a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like that, like, does that blow your mind at some point that you're like, because you don't look old enough to have a 15-year-old?
Bro, it's so crazy to me. Like, I think about it. Like, I had her when I was 19. You know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
Like 19, my first year of college. And like,
Oh.
when I'm 89, she's going to be 70. Like, we going to be old together. You know what I mean? Who's going to change whose diaper? You know what I mean?
Holy
That's
shit, I
right.
didn't even think about it. So you wait, so you had your daughter, you were in college.
Yeah, my first year of college. Yep.
Freshman year of college.
And
Yeah.
you stayed in, did you finish college, do the whole deal?
Yeah, so like
Oh, yeah.
I stayed in college because like the woman I had my daughters to, she had another daughter already. So she was like already doing like her adult thing.
Wow.
So for her it was just like, well, I just got another one. For me it was like, all right, you handle that. Let me just finish school. You know what I mean? But I only did 2 years. I got an associate's degree, so I didn't do 4 years. I did 2 years of school.
But you know what I mean? Like, you didn't
Yeah.
let that completely stop yourself and what you were doing. And that's cool because now you're doing a thing where you're chasing your dream, but you're also being mindful about being available and being a great dad, right? I mean, that's something that's important to you.
Yeah, that's the number one thing in my life. Like that's the number one thing. Like my kid is comedy is number one thing for me, but like having kids, like it's just the beginning of everything. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
I don't know, like without them, I wouldn't even have any jokes. You know what I mean? It's like that's where I get most of my material
'Cause
from.
They're
It's
like your lifeline, right?
yeah, like
Your
I can even
lifeline.
like I tell them like they understand what I do for them. Like I feed them and I give them a place to stay, but I tell them all the time like what they do for me. Like they help me get in touch with who I am and open up and learn myself too. So it's like I need them just as much as they need me. You know what I mean? So it's like
I hear that because I remember I had, we both had children out of wedlock. I was 15 years older than you when you experienced that or something like that. But one of the biggest fears I had was I don't want to be a shitty dad.
yeah,
I don't want to be a half-assed dad. I don't want to be, 6 months of the year I'm great, and the other 6 months it's like, where's dad? I hope he shows up again. My dad's kind of a loser. Like that was my biggest fear, was that I was going to be bad at it.
yeah.
But you probably felt a little bit, but you crushing it.
Listen, bro, I wasn't always a good dad. Like I tell my oldest daughter this, like the first 2 years of her life, like I was 19, 20. I wasn't like there like I am now. You know what I mean? Like me and her mom, we weren't together. So it's just like shoot, I had my daughter in Lancaster. Like I had moved back to Philly after she was born, like for a couple months. Like I wasn't a great dad. And I tell her that so she can appreciate me now. I make sure I tell her that, like, yo, I ain't gotta be here. I could go back to
I mean, but so many
have an MO.
people, but so many people at that level, you would have seen how many people, guys out there that were at 19 had that, and then even after 2 years, just kind of rode the train. I have a couple friends I've talked about that had kids when we were young, 17, 18, and then they didn't own up, and they didn't. I think sometimes, guys, we can get away with doing stuff like that. So to go back after 2 years and say, no, I got to course correct. I mean, those are things that's life. Life
Well,
is learning.
your conscience will eat at you. I feel like if you're not good at being a dad and you know that you can do, like there's times when I know I could have done better in a situation. that shit will eat at me for like a week, until I get a chance to correct it. There's my air quotes, correct it. Like not putting all in and not being in the moment. There's times when I'm like, you probably really shouldn't have answered that email and got stuck in your phone for those 15 minutes you were with your girls. Like that'll haunt me for a period of time because you're not going to get that time back. It's gone.
Yeah.
Wait till they start telling you to get off of your phone.
Dude, I had my daughter. It scared the life out of me. She's like 6, and she came by the other day, and she had now a fake phone. It looked like an iPhone, and then she's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh my God, she's modeling what we're showing her." So it's like, it's one of those things. It was a moment where I was like, "Wow, like that." She's modeling what she's seeing. So for her, it was like playing mom or playing whatever. So it was like a moment for me where I was like, "Wow, we got to like start." Doing like, hey, no cell phone Sunday nights, no.
Yeah.
I mean, we always say like 2 hours before bedtime, they got to be off a screen, but like still, we could do more. You can always do more though.
And what does she say, Alan? When you're like, "Yo, Daddy used to be an asshole," or I'm sure you don't say asshole, but maybe you do. Does she understand? Well, she's old enough, so she gets it. She understands what that means. And
Now, my kids, they get it. They get what I'm saying, and they know I will never be an ain't shit dad like I was those first 2 years of my daughter's life. Like my youngest daughter, she don't know nothing about. All she know is good dad. Like she's never seen that.
Good for you.
I mean, but I make sure I tell her like, listen to your big sister. She didn't know like Daddy don't gotta be here. Like I could leave, but I just be playing. I joke around with them like all the time. Like they understand comedy, so it's like I say some wild things. People be like, "You said yes." They write jokes themselves, so like it's cool. Like,
yeah, I've noticed my daughter up her game and sarcasm already, and I think that's just a byproduct of being around me and my wife too. But yeah, no, I mean you're right. I mean my dad. I wonder if it haunted him. Like he wasn't my dad. My parents divorced when I was 2, so I don't have any memories of them together. And then he kind of was like doing his own thing, trying to figure himself out. But he distanced himself for most of my life. So I wonder if I feel like that haunts him now that we're back together and we have a relationship. I wonder. I
guarantee it.
You know what I mean?
I guarantee you it does.
For sure.
I guarantee you, like missing out on like the certain moments and the inside jokes and that he wasn't there for.
And like when you're
There's
2
no
or
doubt
3, you
about
get
it.
away with it. I would argue that your older daughter probably has very slim memories of anything, unless there was something major. And then now she's got 13 solid years of great dad.
So let me ask you this, Alan. This is a question I have for you. 1, did you have like an awakening when you were like, I need to be better at this? And 2, it's like you did a complete 180. I know you travel a lot to make sure you are geographically near your daughters when you are. Like, just tell me, like, tell me about how you got there and what it's like now, because the travel is a serious thing. And my dad was a traveling dad, so he would come back and forth. So I've experienced that.
So to how I got to being a good dad, it's like, I don't know if we have enough time, but like, so I was like the 2-year time period that I was like, wasn't the best dad. I wanted to be like a gangster. Like I wanted to be a thug. I wanted to sell drugs. I wanted to do all the kind of things that's just what I wanted to do. I was in the streets. I was doing all kind of stuff. Okay. So long story short, the crib that I was living in, me and my homies, it got raided, right? Crib got raided. And it was one of the nights that I was at my daughter's house, with her mom that night, and my crib got raided and I had nowhere to stay. Like, so I was already like messing with her mom still. So I was like, we might as well just try to make this work.
Nice.
Hey, and necessity is the mother of all
right.
things.
It sounds like it worked, right? Everybody won.
But that's it. Like, that's where comedy is. That's what I love about like being a comedian.
Yeah,
you can
there's
find
a
moments
lot
of that,
jokes in that.
and then you cartoon it, you amp it up, and that's where the comedy lives. And that's why I love, like you said, like, the girls provide that that ammunition. Our life, I love that life can take that, because now tragedy is just a matter of time before it becomes comedy.
Yeah, man.
If you talk to your kids for like an hour and you just have a verbal conversation with them, that's like 25 minutes worth of material.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of material there. The questions they ask and how they tie things together, and then they ask you a question from 2 weeks ago with the new information. It's all fun. There's a lot of humor in it.
My daughter rolled in Monday from school, and she's like, "Daddy, I'm hopeless. I need goldfish." I'm like, I'm like, what? She's like, "I'm hopeless. I need some goldfish." I'm like, I think the word is hungry, but I don't know. Maybe you're stress eating, girlfriend. I don't know. Because like she does, my oldest being autistic, she didn't speak till she was 5. So now when she talks, like she's like a foreign exchange student talking. So sometimes she crosses her wires, and it's just hilarity. Like it's just so
Sounds
much
like
gold.
something from Glenn Ross.
It's
been a hard day at the office.
We were at a Mexican restaurant, and we were trying to coach her how to talk to the waitress, because we were at one where she asked for lemonade, they brought her Sprite, and she just started yelling at the waitress. I'm like, oh no, we don't do that. I said, we asked, say, Miss Annette, I think you made a mistake. I would love some this, please. And then we were at a Mexican restaurant. She was trying to be like prove to us that she was doing better, and she's like, this is the best Mexican food ever. Every time the waitress came over, and I'm like, sweetheart, you had chicken tenders and fries. I mean, like,
you visit
you know,
Mexico,
like
girl,
you
yeah.
didn't have, yeah, it's like, mwah, it's like Olive Garden when you're here, your family. No, but I mean, like those moments are like real moments,
that's the moments,
and then it's
that's
just funny, like to highlight that and make them. I like to make my daughter the hero of the joke, or make me the butt of the joke, or you know, it's fun because I don't know if I'm doing this dad thing right. Like that's the thing. I always think, I say, you know, we don't know. Like my dad wasn't around. I had 2 lesbians I was watching all the time. How did I know what?
That explains a lot.
You know,
You and I
does
both
explain a
had
lot.
that actually.
Yeah. But like, you know, I didn't have a
I think
stencil.
I'm sorry. I think I interrupted because so Al, you went from that to 19, right? And then your house got raided, and then,
And then you just
guys were just
stayed
making
at the
it work?
spot. Yeah, like what?
So how it worked? This is like I don't feel that bad about like because like I was like messing with the mom still, and that's when I would like see my daughter when I go to her mom's house, see my daughter, stuff like that. So I was like there. I wasn't like just not around. You know what I mean? So, but when my house got raided and I had nowhere to stay, it was just kind of like, why not try to? We was like, let's try to make this. We never were like ever in like a real relationship. We just like we met at a club. We was young. I was new to the area, and like we was just cool. But we still, you know, was doing our thing. So eventually we were like, let's try to make this work. And then that's when my second daughter was born. And then that's when we realized this ain't meant to work. So it's just like, we've been separated for over 10 years. You know what I mean? Like
When that revelation, this isn't meant to work. Did that hurt? Was that just like life? Was it we both know what's happening?
bro, I was so young. Like I was just so young, man. I didn't know who I was. She didn't know who she was. And by the time we figured it out, we ain't like each other. You know what I mean?
How you guys navigating the co-parenting now? All right.
That's always a loaded question. That's not an easy question to answer.
I'll be honest with y'all because I don't have much to hide. The reason I'm gonna be honest with y'all is because I'm also trying to figure out how to write this for the stage. So
Okay, all right, we're gonna work it out. I like that.
So like for a long time we were cool. Like she had a boyfriend for a long time and everything was good. But then like the pandemic hit and then things just like I don't know what happened. Like we were arguing, doing a lot of fighting and stuff. So things were like tumultuous for a little bit. But like right now we're cool. Like we cool right now. Like we had the soccer game yesterday. Everything was cordial and kosher. You know what I mean? But it's like a roller coaster, bro. Like it really goes up and down. And my dad's been a co-parent all my life. Like him and my mom never were together either. So it's like, and he always said to me, he was like, this doesn't stop no matter how old the kid gets. And like one day she cool, one day she not. And it's just what it is, man. Like
Yep.
I just gotta handle my emotions and how I deal with it.
My best friend is an older guy. He's probably 10, 12 years older than I am. So you guys, he's like, you know, ancient apparently to you guys. But he was divorced for most of it. I watched him. They had 2 boys, and I watched him like really that co-parenting because she was like a monster, and it was like every other day. And still now they're 21 and 24, but like you said, it never goes away. And I watch, and he cares so fiercely about his kids, and I feel like she was so manipulative with him. But he handled it with such grace because you just have to because it's not about you, it's not about them, it's about the kids. And as long as the focus is there, I mean, you guys know better than I am.
Well, I always wonder when the co-parenting thing isn't working. Alan, do you think it's like a byproduct of the failed relationship? Like deep down, this person still wants to be with you and part of your life and have a family with you, and they're not getting it, so they just can't find happiness and they kind of pick fights and dig when they can? Or do you think it's just life? I know how I feel. I want to know how you feel about it.
Well, I had a theory, right? This don't go for every woman, right? But a lot of women that I've seen and come across in this situation with a co-parenting, a lot of women grow up watching Disney movies. Most Disney movies start off and they end with a happily ever after with Prince Charming.
That is right.
So once you break that happily ever after idea, they want to. Some can't handle it. Some try to do everything they can to get it back. Some people like resent you forever because you just ruined that fairy tale for them. So now it can never be perfect for them. You know what I mean? And I think that it's drilled into their head since their young age. Like, yo, you're the princess, live happily ever after. Like us, we don't really get that drilling. It's kind of like, yo, be a boy, be a man, and go have fun. You know what I mean? So I think that when we mess up their idea of what their life should have been like, that's when they give us tough time sometimes. That's my theory.
But there's no Disney movies that start with a single mother, are there?
No.
It's not Disney that
No,
starts
I
with a
will
single
say
mother,
the
and then you get the happily ever after.
Encanto is the first one that was like bringing in like generational trauma of like this like concept, but like they weren't like they got to stick to the script. I mean, that's what's been making them the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
but you're right.
everybody switched
I
this
think
up
we're
now.
a product of these stories because oftentimes now as a parent, you know, because you always think, oh, I'm going to do it different. But like I'm reading the same stories to my kid. I'm thinking like, oh, what am I reading to them? Like, what is like this concept of Snow White or whatever? All these things. I'm like, this stuff is different now, and so it's like it's hard because sometimes you just do what you were used to, like and that's when you get into trouble because how do you break the generational cycle?
Well, that's a big question. Like, how do you? Because I'm concerned, and I don't know, Alan, if you feel the same way, and Jay, you as well. Like, you know, what my girls are watching now is not a nuclear family. What Alan's girls are watching is not a nuclear family. It's a 50-50 pick up, drop off. I live here. My dad comes here. Is this going to be their truth in 20 years? You know, when my daughter starts her family, is it going to be under the same guys that we have now? You know, and it's going to be the same exact thing. And I don't know. I don't know if I would really necessarily even want that for. It's true. I don't know, but I don't know if that would make me happy.
No,
knowing
you don't.
that
You
she
don't.
was-
You don't want this for your kids. No,
Yeah, I don't-
Just
I
be
don't
be
think
honest.
so.
You don't want that. You want them to live.
No.
Like
No.
you want them to live happily ever after with their Prince Charming. And that's what you
That's
want.
100% right. You are 100% true.
That's what you want.
But they're not noticing all the logistics, all the things we're worried about, juggling between stuff. They're not seeing that. They're just seeing like, oh, I'm excited to get to my dad's house, or I'm excited.
Oh, I bet you, Alan's girl. Well, Alan, how old are your girls, brother?
15 and 11.
11.
See, they're seeing it differently. Like, I think you're right. At a certain age, it's just like, my dad's here, it's fun. My mom's here, it's fun. We're at this house, we're at that house. But then I think as they grow up, and they also are seeing their other families, they go, yeah, it's kind of fucked up. My dad, he has to like come here, and then he leaves. And Brenda's dad is always there. And I think they start to, I think it sticks with them a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're used to, it's not like I think if had they been together and married and they were 10 and 14 and they got divorced, I was like, that's a huge thing. But for them, that's their truth. That's and people are different. But now it's like it's like my daughter came home and somebody in her family has two dads, and she's just like, oh yeah, Billy's two dads, and I'm like, wait, they're allowed to say that? Like I was living in Whitpro, and now these kids are just saying like, oh yeah, my two dads. I'm like, oh fuck you guys. I waited till I was 18 to tell somebody that. You know, so it's like, but it's cool. I mean, it's cool, but I think that's the truth. I think we are so diverse now. But
I mean, that is true. Like the not nuclear family.
we're like, I mean, we're done. Is Norman Rockwell really the stencil people are using to say in 2023? And that's the thing. Like that's my beef was always my mom. You know, wanted to be a Norman Rockwell painting for her parents.
Right.
She wanted that so bad it just wasn't in her being. I'm like, dude, you're a Pollock. Go be a Pollock and go enjoy that and stop trying to stop. What's the quote? It's like there's some quote where it's like, stop trying to judge a fish on how it climbs a tree.
Right.
Okay, I
You
like
just
that.
made that up. You've never heard
No,
that.
it's like Dr.
definitely made
Seuss.
that
That's
up.
like Dr. Seuss. I wish I could take
That's
credit
an
for that.
old Southern saying. It's
Yeah.
that's like that's like well, stop judging a frog the way it hops across a pool. Like you're like, what does that even mean?
No, that's great. Stop judging a fish by how it climbs a tree.
No. Yeah, I think you're talking about expectations. I'm not a father, but like, yeah, I think I definitely agree with Alan. I definitely agree with like the expectations as a young man was not what we got in Disney. I associated with the woman in this.
Disney is not for men.
Yeah,
Disney's not for boys.
I know. So,
That's-
but
No.
Yeah, that's just my theory. I think that, and I feel like women. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I just feel like they have an idea of a fairy tale that men don't. So when the fairy tale breaks, they're doing everything they can to get that back, or that just bothers them so much.
Oh.
Like us, when the fairy tale breaks, we're just like, well, okay. Next,
there's
next
seven
you know what I
dwarfs.
mean?
Got other dwarfs to choose from. Go ahead, go bang the other dwarf. I don't care.
Seriously, Dad. Seriously. Seriously.
Like, cause you're in New York, right, Alan? But
Yeah,
you kind
I'm
of
here right
split.
now.
You're like a dual citizen, right? You're in New York and you're in
What's the word? It's not bi-coastal, but when you're in two states, is it bi-statal? What's that word? How do you-
By state.
Do you have a set schedule, or are you kind of based on how you're working, or?
Yeah, it's pretty much based around my comedy schedule. So it's like I look at the schedule for the month, and then we just divvy it up half the time. You know what I mean? Or you don't go through no courts. I'm not on child support, nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like we cool. Like we cool. Like like my homies are on
That's how
child
my
support.
parents handle it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
I'm a child support guy, so I envy you a little bit.
now every birthday I just celebrate because I'm getting that closer to being not on child support. You know what I mean? Like, 15 and 11, I'm almost there.
Hey, that's what it is. When you get to 18, it's like everybody's celebrating when you're paying child support. Shit.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then you
so-
travel, right? So you how many hours is your commute?
Oh, it's like 2.5 to 3.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, so
So you wrap up what you got to do in the city, and then you hop in the ride.
I'm out.
go
You know
up,
what I mean?
And then you're dead.
Yeah, but I love to drive. I love to travel. This is something I've been doing like all my life. My mom lives in Georgia, and we go drive back and forth to Georgia, Philly all the time. So it's like I love driving. It's peaceful. I like to write while I drive. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I love it.
It sounds dangerous. No, I know what you mean though, but it's like
I do the speak to text.
yeah, it's like when
nice.
I like to check my route and I have my map up and I'm like, no,
Rand McNally.
I live with my kids. Whatever, I'm doing the normal family thing, whatever
Yeah,
that
true.
means.
Boring.
Yeah,
Privilege,
boring.
family privilege there.
Yeah, but like I'm putting like I did. This was the first year that I'm like tracking all my stuff, and I just finished January's like thing. I put like 2,300. I put like 2,300 miles on going to Mike's and different things
Yeah.
like that. And it's like that puts a lot of strain. Like my wife's used to having me in the house, so now we've had to redistribute our division of labor, where like I take every morning, no matter how late I'm out, or I'm the after school guy. So like I'm there to get him off the bus. I do homework, do dinner. And like, so you just work it out whether her and I are co-parenting as a married couple or whether you were divorced, you still have to kind of navigate those waters. I just have to also keep her happy because I'm also her partner, you know?
I have a
Yeah.
question. I have a question
Yeah.
for Alan. Are you currently in a relationship?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And is there any crossover beef issues? Not enough time with me when you're going back and forth. If
No.
you want to be
No,
honest on
'cause, like-
no, nothing.
I'm very honest. It's just my life is what it is. Like I got my kids half the time, and the other half of the time I'm trying to do comedy, so we can run around these comedy streets together. And I mean, like that's just what it is. If you want to do that, and we can do that, you know. But if you like, oh no, you're doing comedy every day, well, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was what I say. My kids in comedy, like it's like 1 and 2. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Right. Yeah. I think that there is a level of like responsibility and even like props to the other ladies. I think, you know what I mean? Because it is not easy when your kid, Alan, you're probably like me. When your kid like my daughter needed to go to the doctor this week, drop everything. I'm there. I got to go from here to New Jersey to the doctor back to my. That's like 4 hours in the
Yep.
middle of a day that, and my lady has to understand that has to be done.
yeah,
Like there's no negotiation. Could you maybe not go? Could you do it? No negotiations. This little one needs me. And it takes a very strong person to be on the other end of that. To be
sure.
like, oh no, Albert's going to see his daughter because something went down. So, I mean, to your lady now, props to her for her being able to fit that role and do that because that's not easy at all.
yeah. I think I'm about to go thank her right after this. You know what?
Yeah?
You're right. You're right.
You tell her I said so. Well, no, it's a true thing though. But
You're right. You're right.
It's really real.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not easy because if she told me what I tell her, I'd be like, I don't know about this.
Right?
Right there, you go.
Seriously, I think about that a lot. Do you clear any jokes that you tell about your daughters by? Do you run it by them first?
It's crazy, right? We're at the point now where they like I'll workshop jokes on them, and they know they already know when I'm trying jokes out. They already know when they do something or say something if it'll be a good joke or not. They'll be like, yes, you can use that. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So it's like, but I don't ever like my comedy, like I'm not like a real dirty comic, you know what I mean? So it's like my jokes are always in good taste, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would never put them in a bad light or disrespect them. And they know that. So I got free reign to do my thing, you know?
Yeah. You're one of the first comedians I saw really doing family stuff. I think you've been doing comedy longer than I have. So when I had come around, you were doing your thing. I think all your family jokes are funny and very tastefully done. I'll give you props on that.
Thank you.
And it showed me that, like, yeah, you can talk about this stuff. Just, do it. Like Jay said, make sure that your kid isn't the brunt of the jokes. You're not making your kid look stupid, or you know what I mean. You usually have it fall back on you.
Yeah, that's
Your-
right.
your
Who has the
money.
power in the joke? That's
Yeah.
that's what it comes
Yeah,
down. Like,
like-
and I would do special needs stuff with my daughters. Like I had one joke that it's not show ready yet, but it's like I finally found a way to tell it and not be punching down on something.
Yeah,
And
you
it took
gotta be doing
it
that.
takes a while sometimes because there's something like, oh, that's really funny, but what am I really saying, or what, you know? That's sometimes what I've been. But I'm new. Like, I'm trying to eat up like watching some of your clips, and just when I see you at POV, I'm like all ears because it's nice to see someone doing what I like to do.
We're fans, Alan. We're
Yeah.
fanboying
I
right now,
appreciate y'all, man.
Well,
And
that's why I
really-
went up to. I saw it as soon as I saw him. We were together at POV for one of the mics, and you were there, and that's kind of like when I came up to you. I was like, oh, we'd love to have you come on and talk
Yeah.
about, which is great.
I appreciate you guys. 'Cause I really I really try so hard. And my goal, right, is any content I put out, I want my kids to be able to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
100%.
no matter where it's at, online, like everything I tweet, I want them to be able to look at it because they got phones, they're online. If I put it out there, they can find it. You know what I mean? Like,
I saw your post today, Dad. Not cool. Yeah, gee, I didn't even think of that.
Well, so okay,
Oh
so
my God.
I
you gotta
didn't.
start thinking about it.
they
No,
could
it's
Google you.
serious.
I didn't even think
I've
about
been
that.
thinking a lot of. I had something happen to me, so I'd been doing a lot of reels, and I did this like teacher niche thing where I've been hitting these like teacher summer log, and I took kids to Europe this past summer, and so I was doing like daily like journals of it. And I told one that the person had like mistakenly didn't know how to turn on the water in France, and like kept saying that it was broken. And I'm like, are you sure you're just not doing it right? They insisted. So I went out of my way. I got the maitre d', I got everybody at the hotel to go and check. And it turns out they were just doing it wrong. So I made a reel and I made fun of it.
Oh.
And I didn't realize that they had been following me.
Oh, wow.
And kudos to them because they were like 19 or 20. They came to me after and was like, hey, we saw your video and we feel X, Y, or Z about it. And that was like a huge moment for me to be like, oh, yeah, this is
Wow.
bigger. And so I have to, and
Yep.
like, I'll be forever indebted to them for
Saving your
thankfully
fucking career.
thankfully I conduct myself in the relationship. Well, not even that, like as a human, like you just,
Yeah, you
nobody
don't-
wants to feel that
hurting
way
someone's
or
feelings,
do
right?
that to someone. And as a teacher, like I've been a teacher for 18 years, and that's a role I take very seriously. I don't want to break that trust. I would never name names, but like it made them feel a certain
Yeah.
way, and I wouldn't want to do that to them or my own daughters. You know,
Yeah, I think that's good
Go,
stuff.
so I've been viral a couple times, right?
Hey,
And
we
that's when
clap
I-
for that. We clap for that. Hey,
Right.
he went
Thank you,
viral.
thank you. And that's when I realized I was like, yo, I gotta watch what I say because this is going way further than where I think it's gonna go. You know what I mean? It could just be a random tweet and it could just take off and millions of people could see it. And it's like, oh, I would not want my daughter seeing something that I don't want them to see, bro. So like, it's been like a couple, probably for like 3 years now. Like I've been like going back and deleting stuff and like making sure everything I
Wow.
put out is so they can see it. Cause like, yeah, I don't want to be up there talking about, man, I was eating this girl's booty and then I was doing this. Like, I ain't doing all that.
Yeah, then you gotta go kiss your daughter in the mouth. She's like, nah, Pop. I heard that shit you were doing Saturday.
do
night."
you guys know K Mac at all? Keandra Mac?
Yeah, she's
That's
yeah.
that's the
She was
homie.
one of the first person I ever, when I first got a guest spot, she was on the show, and she was so sweet to me, and it was a 2-show night, so in between we had some time to talk, and that was her big thing. She talked about how her daughter had to come with her, and so it was really big for her to be able to be proud and everything you're saying, Alan, like, and it was so awesome to watch her work and to hear just how passionate she was about doing comedy, but also being a single mother, and like, I thought that stuck with me. I'm so grateful that I met her when I just had started to have that kind of influence, you know?
Yeah. K Mac is definitely a beast. But I realized probably November was the first time I actually had my kids like in the showroom with me, like while I was performing. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't get a babysitter. I was like, yo, we out. Like you gotta come with me. Like they'd been to shows and like hung out in the back in the green room or whatever, but like, this is the first time they sat in the show. And I was proud that I was able to kill my set while my kids could watch the material. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I don't even care if people laughing. I was able to do this in front of my kids. Like,
That's beautiful. See, I would not be able to. I got a potty.
Oh my goodness. So he did this joke, and I'm not going to repeat the joke, but a woman was audibly like in like shock. It was like a great premise. It was a great thought, but this woman was from a different era and was not ready for it. And it was great because the joke was sent to desensitize that. The joke was set to kind of break that barrier, and it did.
Yeah.
But watching it break the barrier for her, because I was sitting next to her, was like, you need that. That's what I love about comedy. It's like it's showing a side that you might not agree with initially, but our job is to show you the side that we think is funny about it. And it was fun to watch that woman
sure.
struggle.
I know
through that.
exactly what you're talking about. So let me ask you this, Alan. So you got your kids are like grown-ups compared to our kids. And so what is it like when you have teenagers? I'm sure probably someone has a cell phone or an iPad or something. I mean, you got to be hearing, seeing some crazy shit at this point.
Bro, like everybody got cell phones, everybody got the internet, so you got to just move as if they know everything. Like, you can Google anything you want to Google. You can answer any question you want to answer. Like,
does that scare that scares the shit out of me as a parent?
That
That scares me so.
It's scary, but it's also kind of make it easy because it's kind of like y'all know, like y'all already know. Like I ain't gotta hide anything from y'all. Y'all know what's going on in this world. You know what I mean?
But Alan, if your daughter was like something happened and you were like, what made you even think any of this was a good idea? If she looked you in your eyes and said, well, I Googled it like you told me to, how would you feel about that?
I'm not telling them to Google stuff.
Well, here's the problem. We got to help them. The issue, the information's there, and the same as a teacher now. Our job isn't to be like some know-it-all Wizard of Oz. Our job is to help them manage and go through that and know what's what and curate that and know what's BS and what's worth like looking at. That's my fear. Like my oldest, she's like a sponge picking stuff up, but socially she can't sort out what's appropriate and inappropriate. And she was running around at one point. We had a note come home that her teacher was saying that she had said she wanted to kill her, but she didn't know what it meant. She had heard it being used somewhere, and I still haven't traced it back. I've been going through all her stuff, and she's now just repeating what she's hearing. And it's like, for her, it may not, like, it was just like, wow, with how she doesn't get, like, and there's no reasoning with her. She just doesn't understand it. So, like, that's what scares me is there's such information out there, and my job is to really help them process that. You know?
I think what you said is a really good point. I also want to say, though, that's got to be extremely difficult to do. But we got grown-ups who can't even do that.
Yeah,
we got grown-ups who will see
sure.
something on Instagram and then that'll be life. That'll be the Lord. That's all it is. That's 100% it. I mean, you could even go to credible news sources. If I go look up a story at CNN and I go look up a story at Fox, same story is going to give me two totally different sets of information. So that's going to be very hard for a child to do.
When you have and there's this concept of, have you heard of circular reporting? It's like basically when something that's incorrect gets fed in as if it is truth. Someone cites something they didn't really read, somehow a reputable source, it squeaks through, and now that becomes the message, and now it's almost too hard to undo. And that happens, and it's like you gotta, how do you can't do everything. You can't do all the things. All you can do is when the things come up that you're there for, have a conversation and don't try to avoid it. Like I feel like my parents, we didn't talk about stuff. Like we didn't even have the talk. You know what I mean? Like at no point was like I sat down, or I think my dad at one point on an every other weekend car ride was like, "Hey, so you know about sex, right?" Yeah. Okay, great. And thankfully we just sat in silence for the 40-minute ride to his house from the pickup.
You were like, I know the concept of sex.
Yeah, I was like, I know whatever we need to know to end this conversation. But we didn't have he and I didn't have a relationship like that where we could talk. So all I can do is hope that I create an environment for my daughters between now and then that they're willing to talk even through the embarrassing stuff.
Yeah. Alan, sorry. I was just wondering, because you're specifically, Alan, are you curating their exposure in certain ways? Is there anything you're doing specifically?
Or have you had something come up that you're like, wow, I didn't know I was going to have to do this?
I knew I would have to do this, but stuff has come up, whereas it's like we have to have talks and stuff like that. I am at a point now, my daughter's 15. Okay, when do y'all think that children start to fight back? At what age? They feel like they start to
fight, talk back,
go
to your room.
My 6-year-old's doing it.
Shit.
Right, so my daughter's 15.
11, probably 11, it probably becomes a real thing.
I would say 10, 11, right?
Is that when the transition happens? Oh.
Yeah. And my daughter been in that, she's 15 now. She'll be 16 this year. Bro, I fought so much. I poured out so much hair. You can't tell, but I poured out so much. I'm super chill right now. I'm in a very relaxed place with it. All I can do is teach my kids what I can teach them and guide them how I can guide them. They're going to be kids. They're going to do what they want to do. They're going to go on their phones and look up things I don't want them to look up, man.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. We're all humans. We've all done it. It's going to happen. So I'm just trying not to stress myself out. That's where I'm at right now. Like, I've been going to therapy and the lady told me, she was like, Alan, all you can control is you. Like, you can't control what your kids do. You can control how you react to it and so that's what I've been trying to do. Like, just not drive myself crazy because they're going to do a bunch of things you don't like.
Yep.
You know?
And the dialogue, like when you talk to your 15-year-old daughter, do you feel like it sinks in, or you feel like it depends on the topic? Like, do you feel like you guys know how to have a dialogue about that?
No. There is no dialogue. It's me talking to her. Okay. She's just like I was when I was 15. You couldn't speak to me, but I do know she can hear me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just try to talk as much as I can. She may say, okay, dad, whatever, and not really have a conversation with me. But I gotta tell her, I know she hearing me, because I knew that when I was doing the same thing she was doing, I was listening, because I'm not a complete knucklehead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's true too. It's like, that's why I think, like, with comedy, sometimes there's a lot of things that translate. Like, you know, if you have a certain crowd and you're like, you know, like, but you're like, well, I got to push through because I know, like, this story matters and we need to get to this punchline, in the same way that I'm like, okay, she's giving me that she doesn't want me to go into this bit, but no, I was paid for this time. This is my set. This is what I'm doing as a parent. Hey, this is the situation that happened. She needs to know this. She needs to sit here, and whether she's listening or not, she's going to get that piece, you know, that push through. I don't know. That's
with the crowd, I try to connect with the crowd. With her, I just like, yo, you gonna get these words.
Right, you're gonna hear this. That's how I am. When I talk to my daughter, I know she hears me. Same thing. I know she hears me, but is she like? She's not sinking in.
Yeah, but you always go in trying to connect. Like, you're trying to connect, whether it's your daughter or the crowd. But, like, sometimes they're not. You know, they're not going to give it back, and then you're like, all right, well, it's still this is.
You just don't want your kid to make big mistakes. That's
Big
really what it is.
But they're gonna.
Big mistake. Well, yeah, yes and no, right? Like, everybody makes mistakes. Big mistakes are like, oh, I drank all this and went and drove a car. That's a big mistake.
This is my question for the dads, is because I felt like the communication, like Alan's talking about communication, and we've talked about this before, and this is what I wonder, because I want my kids one day to be able to come up to me and talk about anything.
Yes.
And that's when I think all this comes around, right? I feel like Alan's kind of like, I got to talk to my daughter. You know, Albert, you're like, sometimes you just got to just download information.
Yeah.
You just got to hit him with it.
Yeah.
But does it get Alan, especially with the older kids, does it just get to a point where they're just going to start holding stuff back and they're really not comfortable coming up to you with bigger? Like, that's what my worry is. Like,
that's a great fucking question.
You know what I mean?
This the answer to it. And I know I went wrong. When you're raising your kids from day one, you got to shower them with love and attention. Like, that's it, bro.
Yep.
Like, and like I said, I had kids at 19. I couldn't shower myself with love and attention. Like, how could I possibly shower another person? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I tell my daughter that, like, when I say, oh, I go to therapy now and I talk to my daughter about this kind of stuff, it's like, I know you're a certain way because I wasn't ready. So, like, I got a whole bit of my set about how having kids early, in hindsight, I wish I would have waited. Like, you know, because I wasn't, if I was thinking, like, if I had a kid right now, when this kid is 15, I know the communication would be different.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know
That's why I never hold up my dad. And my dad and I have a relationship now, and I'm not going to hold any of that against him. All of those, there was a good period of time from, like, high school through, he didn't even meet my wife before we got married. Like, there was a good stretch of 15 years where we were not in each other's lives, and I don't hold that against him, because he had stuff going on where he couldn't be there. He couldn't, and if he was there, he wouldn't have been the best version of himself. And now he's the best version of himself.
Right.
And even though it was hard, and I, you know, look at all the messed up stuff I did, I don't know if that made a difference, but clearly I wouldn't have been looking at my grandpa's ankle nudie magazines at this point. But no, to that point, like, you know, you just got to be there and shower them with attention when you are there. Al and I talked about this, about plate appearances. It's not about, like, how much time you're with them. It's about the quality of the time you're with them, and that's all they're gonna remember.
Yeah, I try to be with my kids. I tell them, like, technically they're not with me every day, but every day is my day. Like, if you need to, like, something going on with your mom's house, whatever, you need to come with me, cool. Like, every day is my day. You be with me every day. But, like, I do know that now, you got to shower them, give them love, attention, and communicate with them too. Like I didn't know how to communicate myself. I was 19. I couldn't communicate. How can I teach someone how to communicate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's just, especially when you're starting late to have kids, it's great. I mean, I got so much to say about that shit on stage now. It's like, that's pretty much what it's about nowadays. It's like, yo, if y'all could wait, bro. Like I had unprotected sex with somebody who I won't even share a beer with. It's kind of like,
Yeah. No, that's real. That is real shit. Whoever's watching, that is real shit. Like you're doing things that people do when they love each other, right? Hanging
Right.
out, fucking. You're doing all the things people do, but the biggest thing is you don't really like love each other and doing all that stuff, and like you're just gonna go through life great. It's not gonna happen that way. We're probably gonna edit that
Playing
one.
with fire.
But it's not gonna happen.
Let's go
that
back
way.
to my granddad's
And you're gonna
magazine.
find yourself in a situation where you're trying to learn how to communicate, and you don't even know how to communicate.
Yeah.
But what I think is really cool, Alan, is you're the example of someone who like saw a hole in your game. You needed to be a better father. You're trying to be a thug and do all this bullshit, and you really like turned it around. You
Yeah, I
went to a
did.
therapist.
Yeah.
You're driving to see your kid. Yo, there's a lot of people who won't jump through those hoops to be a good father. So I mean, I'm gonna give you a hats off on that one. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you,
work,
man.
bro.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. I know comedians, man, up here in New York, man. I had one guy tell me, he was like, man, I'm glad to see you going back taking care of your kids. He said, I couldn't do that. Matter of fact, I don't do that. I was like, what you mean you don't do that? He said, maybe he said, maybe I'll see my daughter on her birthday. I'm like, bro, like,
Damn.
Yeah,
you're not
seriously.
even you're not even that funny. You should go see a kid.
Go get some fucking material. Yeah, I don't even think I would be friends with someone, bro. I honestly, like, I don't know if someone was like, yo, I'm just a bad father and I not even trying to be a good one. I think I may struggle to even have like a personal relationship with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is somebody I just seen outside the club. We were talking. It ain't like
Yeah,
somebody I'm
yeah,
kicking
yeah,
it with.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of comedians, man, that think that they put their kids to the side. They gonna chase their dreams. It's like, nah, man, that karma gonna get you, bro. You ain't gonna go nowhere.
Yeah, the world is not going to give you the dream you want when you got a daughter or a son who has that you're part of their dream and you ain't in it. You think the
No.
world's going to give you your dream. Get the fuck out of here. You're out to lunch. That ain't
Well,
happening.
there's another podcast that's run through Drop Tent called the Weekday Comics. They had Steve Rinaldi on a couple episodes, and he said that he was in a green room once, and a guy said to him, like, because he was talking about, I have a kid now, I'm like really thinking I should hang it up. And he's like, dude, your kid wants to see you follow your passion, and they're not going to care if you can't get them the top tier package when they get married or whatever the thing.
Yeah.
They want to see you happy, living your truth. And if you can do that and manage those things, then what's the problem? You know, what's the issue at that
I
point?
think that's good advice.
You know,
I don't know. My oldest daughter, she might want to see me fail. She can't stand me. You know?
Rude. Well,
That's
hey,
why I'll never quit because I'll never hear the satation. You know?
right.
I've heard people like, I told you couldn't do it, Dad. I told you couldn't do it. When
That's
you walked
right.
in, I was 4 years old. I told you you had no
Told
jokes.
you wasn't funny.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, but you know, the minute somebody would say like a friend or someone at school would say, "Oh yeah, I saw your dad. He wasn't funny." You know, she would go to bat for you immediately.
Would she?
In the
Would
other
she?
situation. Heck
Would
yeah.
she?
I think she would.
Heck
She try to act like she don't like
Yeah.
me. I know what's up.
So why don't you, as we're winding down, why don't you plug yourself? You got some stuff coming up. This episode's probably going to drop next. You know, I would say probably end of March-ish.
Alan Massenburg always has stuff going on.
Yeah, maybe your website or anything.
March, yeah, you guys can follow me on every social media platform at Alan Massenburg, ALANMASS. You can figure out the rest because you'll see me pop up.
Okay.
Yeah, man. End of March. Actually, it's my birthday, March 23rd. End of March, man. I got a little situation with it's not little. I'm not trying to say little. I got a big situation.
Okay.
I got a big situation with a company. They have breweries on the East Coast, and we've been running shows from January to March. You know what I mean? So putting together shows like every Wednesday, bro. Like, so
I
it's
saw you were in like South Carolina. It was the same company. Was that Crooked Hammock?
yeah. So I flew to Myrtle Beach. I mean, I flew Spirit, but it was cool. It was just an hour and 20-minute flight, so it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I brought my own water too, because they charge you for water. You know what I mean? So
He's like, "Yep, that's awesome." So we'll keep it. That's called Mass Hysterical, right?
yeah. So I ended up so I have a company. Like I have a company called Mass Hysterical where I produce comedy shows. I create merch, and it's not just the same comedy merch you always see. I'm gonna say it here. I say it every chance I get. I can't stand comedians' merch. It just be like, Alan Massenburg comedy. Just like that's who wants to really wear that? Like, bro. So like I create like funny sayings on shirts and different ideas for different kinds of merch and stuff like that. So like magnets, hats, all kinds of stuff in my company. So like, yeah, I mean, because you can't just do stand up, bro. Like, so you gotta like diversify it somehow. So Master Hysterical is my company, producing shows and all that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you gotta have that. You gotta have the avenues to make it.
Yeah, that's things like I'm thinking about, and we had done. He was nice enough to give me a guest spot on a show in Lancaster a few months back, and I think now I remember like there were certain like bags with sayings on them, and I recall seeing some of them, and I was thinking my wheels were spinning as I think about doing some of that stuff in the future. Like that's the kind of advice I would want to heed and take as well.
I've made more money on merch at shows than I did the actual show itself. Like it's just. If you're funny and people like you, they'll buy whatever you got. They don't care what it is.
To support you because they like you because you made them feel a certain way. Yes,
they know I got kids. They want to help out, so it's just like,
They'll buy your porno floppy discs even after the show.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
TM. No. That's me. I get to take that.
All right.
No, I'm kidding. That's all you.
That was
floppy.
I'm gonna sell floppy disks, like magnets in the shape of floppy disks.
Oh,
that might
shit.
be.
You definitely
That
should
might
do
be
that.
fun. Oh my god!
Wow, that just happened here on this podcast. You just figured that out.
I might regret this, Alan, and I apologize. Are we ending with bad dad jokes? I mean, good dad jokes. Sorry. Are we trying to do it?
Oh
We
yeah,
don't
so
have to.
I want to do a dad joke because
wanna
even
do
if we
one?
cut this out and do it as a separate clip,
Okay.
I like doing dad
Al,
jokes.
you got a dad joke for us over there?
A street joke. It doesn't have to be original.
Yeah.
Al likes to put a spin and be original. I like that about.
I don't
him.
think the one I have today is going to work. But it's too
see.
wordy, and I think my definitions are off. What do you got? What do you got, Massenburg?
Oh, I'm first? God.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Oh,
I'll
we
go
gonna do
first.
it.
No,
We
I'll
gonna
go
do it.
first. I'll go first.
Jay
go
really,
first.
Jay's got to go up because he really wasn't doing his dad
He's
joke.
ready.
Yeah, no, I like this. It's my favorite part. So, like, yeah, so my wife and I, we've been fighting because she says that I never know, like, directions-wise. We're always fighting over the GPS. And, like, she says I don't have a good sense of direction. And I told her the other day, I'm like, you better be careful. Otherwise, I'm going to pack up and write.
Yo.
It didn't work.
I know, because I changed the
You
tense.
fucked it up. Did you?
I changed the tense.
You were so
messed it all
excited
up.
that you fucked it up.
I know.
Yo, we can edit this out and make it.
No, I don't want to edit it. I want every blemish
Yeah.
that I don't want it. I want it all.
Yeah.
Okay,
then
that happened. All
and
right,
then
so I don't know
right.
if mine works because I don't think my definitions are right. What does juxtapose mean?
Reversed of what you would expect.
So if I were to say like, why did the priest not like,
Nailing it.
see, I fucked it up.
See, mine's so much better already now.
Oh, this is amazing.
This is great. Why did the priest not like?
Look at Alan right now.
I was like, what did I agree
Just
to?
wearing it all.
What did I agree to? So wait, why didn't we want to start off with this, Alan?
I don't know. We're giving Alan time is what's happening. Alan's in the green room right now. He's like, all right.
He's like,
I'm gonna
where's
set up.
my French toast?
No, okay,
That's
I
what
think it
he's
was,
saying.
why did
my
the
French
priest
toast is getting cold?
like the juxtaposition of dogs and sex, like doggy style?
Why didn't he like it?
Why didn't he like it?
Why didn't he like it, Alan?
Because missionary is juxtapose he's into.
Juxtapose.
See, it's got something, right?
Oh man!
No.
Holy crap!
Can I talk to you guys about my grandfather's magazines?
This is
Yo.
so, Alan. If you were gonna be famous, not anymore. But
Hey.
no.
Hold on, you ain't getting at us, Al
Yeah.
Massenburg. Let's go. Juxtapose.
All right.
See, we're about making our guests
What
look
is
really good.
all right. I've been working on this show for years and I never get it right. I forgot to do it. I do it now. Okay. What is a slave's least favorite baking ingredient?
My white privilege recluses me from answering this question.
black beans. I don't know.
Their least favorite baking ingredient is heavy whipping cream.
You know what? God damn.
That was the win. That was the win.
We can't follow anything.
Yeah, that's your joke. That's your dad joke.
Yeah, I made it up. Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's
real. Yep, that won the dad joke segment.
Hey, white dads,
Well, it
don't
was-
do this. Don't. It's not for you, white dads.
Yeah. Put that on the bottom of the screen, like warning white people, don't fuck
I
around.
want to see that come around on the merch. I can't wait
Yeah.
for that comes.
Yeah.
That might be an Instagram reel. I might do that on stage tonight.
Yeah, and then we can put this up after. I would like that. All right, Alan Massenburg, give us your take on fatherhood. Give us a father gem, and then we're signing off. You get the last word, my friend.
Oh man, my take on fatherhood, man, it's amazing. It's great because when you do good at fatherhood, everybody's like, oh, he's doing good at fatherhood. Like it's not really your job. Like it's like you get like 2 thumbs up. It's like women is like you're supposed to, but as men, they're like, oh yeah, look at him doing what he shouldn't be doing.
Low. Yeah.
No, man, it's great. It's great, yo, man. Like I tell my kids all the time, I learn from them, yo. Like I need them. Like I need them. They're my piece. I love it, yo. Like I just love it, man. I get so much jokes from them. I lose a little bit of money, but it comes back, you know. So it's good, man. I mean, I don't know. Take care of your kids, people. I'm happy to say that I'm part of the generation of black fathers that are around because like all my homies take care of their kids. Like I mean, that's that old, that's the '80s. That's that crackhead stuff. No.
Yeah. I can second that. I'm proud that I'm not a shitty ass dad.
Yeah,
man, some bullshit.
So, also, I want to thank y'all for having me on, man. This was a lot of fun, man.
Dude, thank you so much.
Thanks for showing up, man.
Yeah,
I hope to see you soon. I haven't seen you in person in a minute, so next time you're around or I'm in New York, let's catch up.
I say that to you every time. I say, yo, when you come to New York, hit me up. You know, hit me up.
I don't know if I heard that. I'm going to have to check my messages out. I don't know if I heard that.
It was in person. It was in person. In person.
I think I'll be there tomorrow, so I'll hit you up.
All right, hit me up, bro.
Yeah, I'm being serious. I'll be there tomorrow.
All right,
man. Well, thanks for being a part of it. We had a great episode. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Peace out.
Peace.
Cool.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, thanks.
Good
man.
stuff, man. That was
Appreciate
some good interview, bro.
Yeah, that was fun, man.
Yeah, you gave some good stuff there. I like that.
It's a very good.
Seriously, Dad?
Seriously, Dad.
Seriously, Dad?
Seriously, Dad.
Dad?
Seriously, Dad.
Seriously?
How you doing? This is Neil Wood from the Cult of Us podcast, speaking on behalf of Drop 10 Media Network, the network you're currently listening to. Make sure to check out all the other podcasts on the network. You can go to drop10.com to check them all out. Make sure to like, subscribe on everything that you see Drop 10 on. We appreciate it. Go to drop10.com now.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.